Mike's Daily Podcast.
This is going to be the Friday show. Hi, I'm Patrick Meehan. I'm a married man. Oh, but one of my beautiful young staffers, she and I are soulmates. What the bleep? That's the kind of politicians we have today. What the? Ooh. Crazy. Well, he's no longer going to be GOP.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Republican representative. Welcome to Mike's Daily Podcast. I am Mike Matthews. It's episode 1054.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
No, 1550. No, I don't know. It's a little bit confusing, but I hope this show to you is slightly amusing. It's 1545. That's 1545, and you feel so alive because it's Friday and you're going to go do things on this Friday, right?
Mike's Daily Podcast.
It's not Friday? Oh, yes. And I watched a whole bunch of...
Mike's
What's her name?
Daily
the girl,
Podcast.
you know, from...
Yeah!
Let's see. It was on my... How do you get to your activity? On your history. That's what it is. On your YouTube. Yeah. Karen Gillan. So she was on the wonderful Craig Ferguson show, which is no longer on the air. And she and Craig had an interesting chemistry together. Both of them Scottish. Oh, yeah, look who walked in. Sorry, I just sidetracked. I got sidetracked. Hi, Mark. It's Benita the Rodeo Queen. How y'all doing? It's a Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Oh, Lord, you're talking about... Oh, wait, there's...
Shipping and handling. Get P3 Advanced free.
What the hell was that? I don't know. Look who else walked in.
Hello, Mike. I make the delicious root beer. I'm the Brewmaster. Oh, boy, I have some right now.
Thank you. Mark, you're too much into the Doctor Who and this British stuff. I mean, this is like in another country and whatnot. Mark, it's all right. You can like whatever show you want, because it's a free country. Thanks, Benita. That's right. I'm really happy Reba's going to be on television again. That's right. She's going to be Colonel Sanders.
And here's today's podcast picture.
I bleep you not.
Go!
It is going to be, the podcast picture is of someone else who just walked into a cafe anyway. Everybody, put your hands together. Wave your hands in the air like you don't care. It's Floyd the Floorman.
Oh, Mike, this is Floyd the Floorman, yeah. Oh, hey, Benita. Hey, Disgruntled Fiddle Player. Hey, Brewmaster. Hello there, Floyd. Oh, boy.
Yeah, you guys never are together at the same time. That's too bad.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave. Bye.
He's gone. Mark, I wanted to talk to him, but he left too early. Yeah, Benita. So yeah, Reba is going to be the new KFC. Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down. Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down. Don't do what I do. It's up to you to be something else that's let me down. Fancy, don't be around. Mark, I don't know that song. You know this Reba song. Does he love you like he loves me? No? 'Cause the heart won't lie. Did you hell your alibis? No? I'm a survivor. That was the theme song to her show. Yes. Grammy-winning country music singer Reba McEntire is going to be the iconic white suit, black string tie, glasses, white wig, and yes, goatee, as part of the ad campaign for the fast food chains Smoky Mountain Barbecued Fried Chicken. Shh, don't listen to them, little chicken. Did I say goatee? I might have. I have something to say. Oh, wait, maybe I have I've eaten KFC my whole life. It's been a favorite. It's American. It's wholesome, she said. Maybe. I don't know. Could have been her spokesperson. It was like a written statement, so whatever. So enough of that plug for KFC. Crap FC. As I walked my dog Basil the Boxer yesterday at Fairmont Ridge in Podcastro Valley, I realized I need to stop walking there because people there, well, the women I meet are nice. I've met young, beautiful women. I've met older, beautiful women. I've met women beautiful on the inside and outside. I've met all types of women at Fairmont Ridge and Podcastro Valleymont. But Podcastro Valley, I do not like the tall, white men that I have been meeting lately. They are jerks. I'm walking along, and there's a guy with his little dog. And I go, oh, that little dog is cool. What is that? And he goes, oh, we didn't know what it was. And then we found out it was this mix, blah, blah, blah. And then he looks at my dog, and he goes, wow, your dog's old. Just out of the blue. Your dog's old. How old is he? 9.5. Oh, he looks older. Is he supposed to be gray like that? He says this to me. This. I said a bad word just then, but it was blocked by the sound of me punching my own mouth. Ouch. I gotta stop doing that. At any rate, cafe anyway. Where is it?
Anyway.
Okay, I feel better. He says, yeah, oh, and his eyes are all glassed over. He can't see anymore, can he? He says this to me. I should have just punched him in the mouth, like I just punched myself in the mouth. But instead he sees fine. He saw a cat yesterday, and the cat was clear heck across the street and up the street and far away. He goes, oh, okay. I think at that point he saw I was a little bit miffed, so he walked away. Then, a little bit later, we're walking down a hill, and Basil has had trouble walking down this steep hill for the past couple of years now. I give him glucosamine, it helps his joints. But it's still a little difficult for him to walk down the hill, especially when we've walked already 3 miles at that point. And this guy says, oh yeah, dog, your dog's walking slow. That's sad, isn't it? And I went, yeah, I guess it is kind of sad, but I should have punched him in the mouth. Punched him square in the face, but particularly in the mouth for saying what he said about my dog, Basil the Boxer. Oh, people! Dang! I would like to applaud Rosemarie Aquilina, who was the judge that, when Nasser got sentenced, went out of her way to make the guy go through hell and to have every one of his victims, and he had a scary, horrible amount, 160 victims, had each one of them come up, and survivors, I should say, and speak directly to him and tell them what was on their mind, what they were feeling, what they've gone through, the hell they've gone through because of him, and express to the world what a complete jerk doesn't even begin to say what he is. And this judge, Rosemarie Aquilina, made that possible. I can see where other judges in the past would have just went, okay, you did a bad thing, you're sentenced to, oh yeah, and he got sentenced to like 175 years in prison, where his life will be a horrible living hell, hopefully. And yeah, she allowed that to happen, went beyond what I think a lot of judges would have done, and I applaud her, Rosemarie Aquilina. She's a circuit court in Michigan, a circuit court judge in Michigan. When I heard what I talked a little bit about it on the last show, but man, that was just, that guy, it's great. Okay, so Patrick Meehan is no longer going to be in the won't get reelected in Pennsylvania. He's not running for reelection after settling a complaint, and he settled a former aide sexual harassment complaint with taxpayer money. Informed party and campaign officials yesterday he will not seek reelection. This was earlier in the day, I was listening to NPR, which is so liberal. Oh my God. Just when I think I'm liberal, oh God. I listen to them and I'm like, come on. They tell these long, long stories that are supposed to prove a strong liberal point, and then there are all these holes in it. And I'm not going to go into specifics right now. I will possibly in the future, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh my God, they totally, jeez. So so he will not seek a re-election. A decision that came as party officials had begun to search for a replacement candidate. They were like, this guy saying, even though he's married, that there's a staffer on his team who's way younger than him, that is his soulmate. He's 62, and I think I don't see it in this article how old she is, but I had heard she was younger, way younger. And he got jealous because she began dating another man. He contended he had done nothing wrong and had never sought a romantic relationship with her. Yet he goes on and on that his soulmate, and so this makes her feel uneasy, uncomfortable, and has her lawyer say, "Hey, stop talking about this stuff." And on Wednesday night, Stephen Colbert skewered Meehan in a 4-minute monologue on his show. So he wrote in a letter, unfortunately, recent events concerning my office and the settlement of certain harassment allegations have become a major distraction. I need to own it because it is my own conduct that fueled the matter. Okay. Well, if you want more about it, I guess you should go see the Stephen Colbert thing. I would play it for you, but he doesn't give me any extra money for playing his clips, so screw that. Hey, meanwhile, Trump is talking America's first policies at the Davos meeting. He's no longer talking.
That's less than
this woman's talking.
Had predicted, but it's still showing economic growth.
He said
home.
America first does not mean America alone. Basically what he was saying at the Davos meeting in Switzerland. Trump ordered Mueller fired, but backed off when White House counsel threatened to quit. And that was... a lot of reporters asked him questions about it, to which he denied, and he called that story that the New York Times ran...
You are fake news. Fake news. Fake news.
Okay, enough of that. That goes round and round and round, doesn't it? I mean, he's just going to keep saying fake news, and the New York Times is going to keep uncovering crazy, nutty stuff about him. An app adds Bitcoin trade. Robinhood is adding Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency trading. Robinhood Financial, which makes it's a popular free stock trading app. Perhaps you make money on it, you yourself. But they're getting into cryptocurrency. That makes all the financial people I know very uneasy, because the cryptocurrency is what is used by the hackers that try and hack your information and the ransomware stuff, and you want to get your money, but your files back, you got to pay Bitcoin. The move gives fellow financial technology startup Coinbase Inc. a new competitor. Digital currency trading marks the first paid product other than trading on margin for Robinhood, which made its name by letting anyone buy and sell small amounts of stock without fees. The company said it'll only charge for cryptocurrency transactions to recoup the costs associated with trading the assets and won't take a commission. Robinhood plans to roll out the option gradually and hopes to have it available to customers in most U.S. states by mid-year. The product should be popular among Robinhood's young customer base. More than half of Bitcoin holders are ages 18 to 34. Not 8 to 13. That would be a bit young to get into money, but, that won't be a far off thing. Far off in the future. It won't be that crazy. More than half of Bitcoin holders are from ages 18 to 34. Robinhood said its average customer is 30. That's right. 30-year-olds are getting into stock trading with Robinhood. Coinbase and Robinhood were founded around the same time, about 5 years ago. They're part of a small crowd of fintech startups with valuations exceeding $1 billion. Well, Robinhood already missed a major boom after rising more than 14-fold last year. Bitcoin has fallen about 20% since the beginning of the year. It's not doing well this year. It did really well around the time of like Thanksgiving. All of a sudden it shot up. People were like, oh, I should have bought Bitcoin. It sounds crazy. I talked to a CPA. He said, you know what? It is just crazy. What did he call it? What's the thing? I'm having a mental block now. The guy who had the thing with all the money. That thing. That's what he had. Like that. So
you get like that? Because I'm actually a bit like that. When I was in Scotland, I was the same thing. The minute a lot of people like something, I was like, I don't like it anymore, and I would go to something else.
Oh, really? Oh.
That's why they threw me out.
Oh.
I'm going back there soon.
Are you really?
Yes.
What for?
Fun.
Fun?
Yeah. Although, it seems strange to say I'm going to Scotland for fun, but I am.
I won't play Stephen Colbert on my show, but definitely Craig Ferguson, for he is no longer doing his late night talk show. And he talked to the lovely Scottish Karen Gillan. Who's Karen Gillan, Mike? Well, yes, she's on Doctor Who, but she's also the green, bluish person that plays Zoe Saldane's sister in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. She's the one that's mostly made out of metal and mechanical, and the daughter of Thanos, and she doesn't talk with a Scottish accent in the movies, but she's just the sweetest girl. So what I found out watching, it was several of the interviews that they had done together, 6 years worth of interviews that they had done, and she was in the first interview, like, oh, it's my first time in America, da-da-da-da-da. And then by, like, the third interview, I haven't watched all 4 interviews yet, she says, hey, I've moved to America. I'm living in Los Angeles. And that she liked Alabama, which is interesting. I lived in Alabama, and she liked Alabama, so we have so much in common. But she's this young thing.
So they pound it out in the gym. I see.
They pound it out.
Okay.
Then they go to the gym.
Well, I only bring this up for no reason whatsoever. I thought on Tuesday I was really coming down with something. Oh my gosh. And then I walked Basil the Boxer, and I was so tired, and I went to bed at 6:30 at night, woke up at 3:30 in the morning, felt completely refreshed and much better. And then yesterday I thought I felt a little better. Then all of a sudden in the afternoon, it came back, whatever I had, like bad stomach cramps and problems. And then today I'm fine. So I hope this continues, this trend of goodness. And it could have just been something I ate. I don't know. I don't have the flu, but everybody's so flu paranoid. You can't mention the word flu. Everybody's like, flu, run! Ah! They're freaking out. So it's just, you got to chill. We're going to get through this flu time like we get through every flu period every year at the beginning of the year. Elton John is going to stop touring, I heard, and that is sad. And Neil Diamond is going to stop touring as well. He's got Parkinson's, apparently. Leonard Skinner is going to stop touring, partly because everybody in the band is dead. But I think there was just one member left. And that's basically all I have as we go outside a cafe anyway. We're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley. There was... let's see. There was the thing with... Oh, my gosh. I almost forgot about that thing. I brought up other things, but I didn't. Bernie Madoff! Bernie Madoff! That's what my... Bernie Madoff, my financial person that I talk to a lot, said, look, Bitcoin is Bernie Madoff all over again. Okay. Anyway, I might be Cafe Anyway completely wrong on that. He might be completely wrong on that, or completely right on that. But anyway, it's not something I want to put money into. There was a friend of my mom's And my mom is German. And when she came to America, she made friends with she was an au pair when my mom came to America to work off the, and this, I don't want to get into the whole immigration thing, but when I know two people that went about, well, my mom actually has never become an American citizen. She gets her green card renewed every 4 or 5 years, however that works. And she does that on time, every time, like clockwork, gets it done. And she's been doing it now. She's in her late 70s now. She's done it all these years, all these decades, okay? So she puts a lot of work in becoming, following the system in America. And then my roommate became an American citizen, and he's only in his mid-20s. And went through all that paperwork and everything. And I was born an American citizen. I don't know all the ins and outs and what it takes, but I know we've got to have some kind of system in place. That being said, Hibby was my mom's friend. And yes, that's a very German name, Hibby. Hildegard. But they shortened it down to Hibby. And Hibby and my mom were friends, became friends when they met as au pairs. And they, in the beginning, in Los Angeles, to work off their moving fees to come to America and to be basically sponsored so that you can become a citizen and to become so Hibby and my mom were friends. They ended up becoming roommates for a year and worked at the Fox, which is in Santa Monica. If you ever watched The Man Show with fellow podcaster, gone on to greatness in the podcasting world, Adam Carolla, and then Jimmy Kimmel, who's gone on to greatness in the late night talk show world, has hosted many award shows. Those two had a show called The Man Show. And when they started, it became this huge, wild success on Comedy Central. And then they had this guy who was their musical accompaniment, kind of the Paul Schaefer to David Letterman, or the who's the guy on Conan? Nah, is there a guy on Conan? Who's the guy on Jimmy Kimmel's? The guy that used to be in the band, the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, and Jimmy Fallon is the Roots, and Questlove. So that guy to the Man Show. The musical accompaniment, his name was The Fox, and he owned The Fox in Santa Monica, and my mom worked for him years ago in the 60s, and even then she told me, there was this guy I worked for, he could drink a beer in one gulp, and you can look it up on YouTube, The Man Show, and this guy would just drink these beers in one gulp, and it was a German-themed restaurant, and the women had to wear a dirndl, the German dress that you see that like in Oktoberfest. And so my mom, Hibby, and Hibby's sister all lived in the same apartment. And a very small apartment in Santa Monica. And then they all worked at the Fox, but they worked on different nights. So that meant they could all use the same dirndl. Isn't that cute and disgusting at the same time? Ew. But what happened was when they eventually... My mom got married, moved out of the apartment, married my dad, thus I am here. But then years later, the Fox was on television, and I told my mom, and she never watched Comedy Central, so she didn't know what I was talking about. And then yesterday, Hibby, by the way, one other interesting fact, as I try not to get distracted by stuff going on here at Cafe anyway, there's people walking around. I can't go into it now because I got to finish my story. Hibby gave birth to Christine shortly before I was born. My mom and her had kids around the same time. As friends often do, girlfriends that are close, they end up having kids around the same time. I don't know why that happens, but that seems to happen. And so Christine, who's a little bit older than me, we grew up kind of knowing each other. Years later, I find out she's dating Brian Setzer, the guitarist and lead singer of the Stray Cats. And then he went on to success, too, in the swing music era. Brian Setzer, famous guitarist. He also performed with Robert Plant in the Honey Drippers. Brian Setzer, who's still well-known, tours with Ringo Starr, part of his all-star band. At any rate, Christine and Brian Setzer got married. I got to go to the wedding because my mom knows Hibby, and Hibby's Christine's mom and is the mother-in-law to Brian Setzer. Well, Brian Setzer and Christine had, I think, 2 kids, and then they got divorced. But I never saw Christine after the wedding. I actually saw them before they got married. I was waiting after a Bryan Adams concert because my friend Mike was like, let's stand here. We were at the Forum in Irvine, and we were waiting for people to come out. We had like our pen and paper, like, can we get autographs? I got Wayne Gretzky's autograph, by the way. As he walked out, he signed some autographs. I told him he was great on Saturday Night Live. He had just been on Saturday Night Live, and he looked at me and thanked me warmly. And that's what I had a brief moment there with Wayne Gretzky. And my dad was really impressed when I told him that story. But then out comes my mom's best friend's daughter, Christine, and Brian Setzer. And they walk out, and I go, Christine! And she hadn't seen me in years. And I was like, it's Mike. And we talked, and then I told Brian Setzer that I enjoyed. He hadn't had really big solo success yet, but he had a great solo album and a song called, I think it was called The Nights Like the Knife or something like that. But they had gone to see, not to be confused with Bryan Adams' Cuts Like a Knife. And anyway, as I wrap up this Cafe Anyway long story, it is sad to tell you that Hibby has passed away. So I found out from my mom yesterday that Hibby had passed away. My mom and Hibby had not talked in a long time. I had not talked to Hibby since Christine's wedding. And so it was sad. She's no longer with us. But she, very nice lady. When I grew up, I spent a lot of time with her and Christine. And my mom, we'd get together, have dinner and stuff. So anyway, a little brief tribute to Hibby and her very exciting world that she lived in. She had a very exciting life. And very big part of Santa Monica. If you ever go to Santa Monica, you are seeing Hibby somewhere in there. She was a big part of the whole Santa Monica scene back in the day. Okay, that's the end of the show. Next show, we'll have the wonderful Madame Rootabega, Valentino, and Bison Bentley. Have a great weekend. Hopefully we'll get to do a super secret Sunday show. Listen to some Brian Setzer or something this weekend. Do some dancing. Have some fun. I'll talk to you soon.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST.com. Email Mike now at MIKEs-DAILY-PODCAST@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!